Report of Kingdom Assembly of Iran on the accusations against Mr. Jamshid Sharmahd. Certain facts about the accusations against Mr. Jamshid Sharmahd by the Islamic Republic. New revelations show that the explosion of the Hosseinieh Rahpouyan vesal in Shiraz on April 12, 2008, was a planned project to destroy the ideals of the Kingdom Assembly of Iran-Tondar and Jamshid Sharmahd, who were sentenced to death on the charges in the case. Previously, other members of the Kingdom Assembly of Iran-Tondar, namely Mohsen Islamian, Asghar Pashtar, Roozbeh Yahiazadeh, Mohammad, Reza, Alizamani and Arash Rahmani had been executed and killed innocently. The Kingdom Assembly of Iran-Tondar was also unaware of the complexity and strategic objectives of this treacherous project. This information and events have recently been evaluated and investigated in a new and more thorough way that was not the case in the past. Returning the accusations of such an operation to the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic shows the depth of an unforgivable state terror. Author, Saman Kivanpour, Kingdom Assembly of Iran. March 7, 2023. In this regard, since Mr. Sharmahd's family may not have enough information about some of the events in the KAI, in this letter, I will state some things that can prove the lies of the Islamic Republic authorities regarding Mr. Sharmahd's accusations, and these could help to the defenses, while this information shows that in one of the most important cases, the accusation that the explosion in Hosseinieh Rahpouyan vesal Shiraz was originally organized by Ayatollah Khamenei, the leader of the Islamic Republic and Russian-affiliated agents Abdullah Shabatzi, and what goals he pursued. I state in advance that this project has complications that the leader of the Islamic Republic has organized to destroy the discourse of the KAI Association as the only powerful, real and influential Iranian alternative. Its full description requires many pages to provide proofs and explanations, which may not fit in this message. However, I will state the main explanations and evidence. And if you need or desire, we can arrange the presentation of explanations and evidence by assigning a special working group with sufficient speed and accuracy. 1. The Kingdom of Iran Association is a non-affiliated and independent political religious military institution that strives to restore the kingdom to Iran and establish the Constitution of Cyrus the Great, and considers the Islamic Republic a terrorist, anti-human, and anti-Iranian governmental institution. We consider the war and struggle with the agents and leaders of this regime to be our duty in order to protect the fundamental rights of the people and the country of Iran. At the same time, KAI is implementing many plans and strategies. As this association tries to attract experienced and military forces and even the Iranian army, it verifies and accepts attacks on centers affiliated with this terrorist structure if it knows within the framework of its principles in order to achieve its goals. 2. In the case of explosion of the Hosseinieh Rahpouyan vesal, this verification was not done, but it was confirmed by Mr. Sharmahd because it was completely in line with the campaigning principles of the association. 3. Mr. Sharmahd did not have any role in organizing or leading the operations and only published it on the Radio and Tondar website if he received accurate information. 4. The only project in which Mr. Sharmahd had a direct role and cooperation was the Path of Cyrus project, which was designed by me. To order to funding it, Mr. Sharmahd traveled to India on 2 occasions and were unfortunately kidnapped the second time in Dubai. The Path of Cyrus project is an international march with a message of peace and friendship with the world, which can save the people of Iran at the lowest cost. 5. The Hosseinieh Rahpouyan explosion was a 2-stage operation planned to detonate an anti-tank mine, which was part of the training equipment of that center, and we didn't know anything about it until I had to re-examine the evidence. We knew some of this evidence, but it was not complete. We could only say that those who were executed on the charges of bombing were innocent. 6. Hosseinieh is located in a military area called Pastern Boulevard, which is full of Quds force training centers and ideological charging of mercenaries with the use of sexual incitement, which is done by abusing the female characters of Islam. 7. This Hosseinieh was built under the management of Mr. Injavi Nijad in a place in Donbass in a short period of time, and its land was donated by the IRGC. 8. Before the construction of this complex, Mr. Injavi Nijad performed a similar religious ceremony under the influence of Siamak Namazi, Iranian with dual citizenship who was taken hostage, in the place of Namazi Hospital in Shiraz, and he was chosen to build a new and very large Hosseinieh, while he was not the perfect candidate for such a project. 9. Mr. Injavi Nijad has been supported by Ayatollah Dastgib from the reformist spectrum and critic of Mr. Khamenei, who seems to have been unaware of the land belonging to the Revolutionary Guards. 10. At the same time as the construction of Hosseinieh Rahpouyan, the conversion of abandoned lands around Shiraz and many lands and forests in Fars province is being done under the title of Falahat Dar Farakat project, which was planned by Abdullah Shabatzi as Khamenei's advisor with the office of Mr. Hari, Imam Juma of Shiraz, managed by himself, along with Mr. Hari's son Mr. Shojadin, was doing the work of land separation. 11. I have seen this office and its activities closely at that time. Before the explosion I met Abdullah Shabatzi in that office, and so I am an eyewitness. I asked him for the permission to film the tomb of Xerxes, and he introduced Mr. Shabatzi to review the work. 12. Mr. Khamenei's agreement with the plan to convert and sell natural resource lands has been approved by Hari's son's wife, Mrs. Maryam Ardabilai, candidate for the 9th Parliament elections. 13. In order to issue permits for this work, Khamenei orders the dismissal of Fars natural resource managers 3 times through his representative in the Ministry of Jihad Agriculture, namely Ayatollah Sheikh Ali Movahed. 14. Khamenei as Vali Faghi, and has representatives in all government institutions, and ministers and government institutions have no power in special cases to pressure and impose orders. 15. Abdullah Shabatzi and Ayatollah Movahed, although they played a major role in the implementation of the land-grabbing project, after the explosion of Hosseinieh and the exposure of land grabbing, each of them takes a different position. Abdullah Shabatzi puts the blame on the Parsis of India with a nested scenario and defends the Hari family of Imam Juma, and Ayatollah Movahed blames on Imam Juma. 16. Abdullah Shabatzi is one of the famous families of the Tudeh party and affiliated with Russian spy agencies, KGB, in Iran. He is an accomplice and colleague of Ayatollah Khamenei, a KGB spy, and an enemy of the discourse of the KAI association. He has known and mastered the conditions of lands and properties in Fars province more than anyone because his father was from Fars families. 17. I myself am a descendant of Khan Ali Abaid S., a tribe of Fars Khans who played a role in the departure of the Southern Police and the British Army and the election of Reza Shah, and I know the role of Zoroastrians and the relationship between my family and the Namazi family and the Parsis, and I refuse Abdullah Shabatzi's claim. 18. The Parsis of India have always intended to support the Kingdom Association, and Mr. Jamshid Sharmahd had an appointment with them. And after the abduction of Mr. Sharmahd, the Parsis of India were threatened and forced to cooperate with the Islamic Republic in the field of the corona vaccine and remained silent. 19. The Parsis of India have an obligation not to interfere in political affairs, and this has been a great limitation for us and them. 20. In the final stages of land division in Abdullah Shabatzi's office with Mr. Hari's son, the explosion took place in Hosseinieh before Khamenei's trip to Shiraz. First, the 2 computer operators of Shabatzi's office and Hari were arrested so that the information was only available to Khamenei, and Imam Juma of Shiraz was the first victim. 21. The second victim of terrorist accusation was us by staging and destroying the principle of the KAI in the killing of children. However, the head of the emergency department on the night of the explosion, is now living in Germany and can testify that there was no child among the dead and injured. He has friendship and closeness with the officials of Shiraz forensic medicine at the time, which is a double testimony. 22. Abdullah Shabatzi published revelations about land theft in Shiraz to cover up the explosion operation in Hosseinieh before the explosion, while at the same time he was engaged in plotting with Harry's son. 2 months after the explosion, he was falsely arrested and released overnight. A month later, Khamenei dismissed the head of the judiciary, Ayatollah Yazdi, and appointed Ayatollah Sharuti in his place. 23. This was an engineered project to destroy the ideals of the KAI, which Mr. Jamshid Sharmahd had no knowledge of its intricacies. The creation of a land-grabbing project by one of the Russian-affiliated agents Abdullah Shabatzi in the Ministry of Information with Ali Khamenei was carried out in such a way as to threaten internal reformist and fundamentalist institutions in the government, and to increase the incentives to join the Quds force. And the Kingdom Assembly of Iran, as the main enemy of the Islamic Republic, will be deprived of its resources. So, the only land grabs, with Shabatzi's revelations, which were recorded only on his own computer, became a cover project so that all the organizers of this explosion, namely himself, along with the Quds force, Qasem Soleimani, and Khamenei would be on the sidelines of security.